I can't really say enough how poignant it was, because I had looked at a lot of photographs and I had never seen anything like this. I had a somewhat mixed reaction. One was, you know, what is this? I mean, this doesn't fit anywhere. And the other part of me was saying, what is this? Seeing Rinpoche's photographs was a crisis for me as a photographer. It put into question all of the things I'd been educated to believe.
Michael Wood began his education as a photographer in the early 1970s at Toronto's Sheridan College.
I went through all the standard courses: photojournalism, portraiture, medical photography, commercial product photography, and fine art photography. So you were required to do all of them. When I left college, then I opened a portrait business. So I worked for many years doing portraits of models, children, families. And then in my spare time, I would just go out with my camera as a hobby, and I would shoot what I felt then was just conventionally good photographs for calendars, greeting cards, etc. When I look back at those images, they were very romanticized and highly dramatic. I would do everything I could using the photographic medium to dramatize. Filters, underexposures, the longest lenses you could possibly find to make things exaggerated. It had to do with first thinking up an idea and then using this medium to create a version of your idea. Thinking first, photographing later.
In the mid-1970s, Michael was asked to photograph a meditation center in Toronto. The center was founded by the Tibetan Buddhist artist and teacher, Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. Trungpa Rinpoche used calligraphy, flower arranging, filmmaking, and photography to illustrate how perception can lead to suffering or happiness.
When I went to take the photographs, I met another gentleman and he gave me meditation instruction. And following that, I began to actually meditate on a somewhat daily basis. Within a short time of beginning meditation practice, I started realizing some shifts were occurring in how I was seeing the world.
Meditation taught Michael that his view of the world was filtered through the lens of concepts and judgments. He realized how his happiness was dependent on his perception of the world.
Rather than spending all my time listening to the discursive mind and having various filters between myself and the world I lived in, I felt a sense of being more present. It's oftentimes what happens is the eye is looking at the world and the mind is offset from it, over here thinking about what it's seeing or what it wants to see, or it's thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow or yesterday.
As Michael's meditation practice deepened, he was drawn to Trungpa Rinpoche's teachings on art.
Trungpa Rinpoche gave many seminars on Dharma art, art that tells the truth, art that's direct, to the point, is not trying to con anybody, not trying to sell anybody. It's actually expressing your direct experience of the world in whatever medium you choose to use. Which means I didn't have to constantly overlay, put a spin on the world, photograph it according to various principles, but it could just be direct. There could be much more freedom involved in connecting to the rawness of the world, that we could just see things as they are.
Michael decided to use his camera as a meditation tool. He began to train himself to see the world in a new light. This required letting go of years of visual training and manipulating images.
If I wanted to really connect with these teachings and his work, I had to make a fundamental shift. And I also decided to use the model of meditation practice, which is basically to stay still. I decided that I would just limit myself to my backyard, and I did so for about 6 months. If I couldn't really see there, I couldn't see anywhere.
Meditation led Michael to a new vision of the world. His next challenge was to express this awakening photographically.
I started really enjoying myself. For the first time taking photographs, it started to become an experience of joy and liberation rather than an experience of work and just being asleep at the wheel. There was a little laneway behind my house that was a couple of blocks long, and I spent another 6 months walking up and down that laneway, looking at just form, garage doors, a dash of red on a fence, cars parked, hydro wires, backs of houses. I think I really had to let go slowly of the impulse and the urge to create the photographs, to make them dramatic. We lay our filters between ourselves and the world, and that can be as simple as, that's a pretty flower, it's an ugly trash can. That's a bad thing to photograph. You can connect more with many things and things as they are in their own right, not what you believe they are or want them to be. Those layers started to just fall away, and I allowed myself, my eye and my mind to just relax and see what was in front of me. What was in front of me started becoming tremendous. If I saw those photographs when I was at art college, I wouldn't have understood them in many ways. I would have thought they were very primitive and did not follow any of the rules of composition and subject matter or technique. Everybody's on program? Everybody's on auto?
In 1983, Michael developed a series of exercises in order to share his discoveries with others. He called the course Mixong, a Tibetan word meaning good eye.
So the idea of this is that you have your eyes closed, right? So you just pick a spot, you have your eyes closed. You turn a quarter or a half, whatever you'd like to do. And as soon as you do that, you open your eyes really fast and close them again really fast. So it's just about, maybe a second. Now just stop for a moment and stand there and keep your eyes closed. And I'm going to tap you on the shoulder, and then you're going to start up again.
He'd tap us on the shoulder, we'd open our eyes. I couldn't come up with a word. I was getting at it before I had words, and I was just seeing what was in front of me at that 1 second.
Mixong training encourages students to perceive directly without the burden of habitual likes and dislikes, all of which cloud clear perception and disturb the mind. For many students, the implications are life-changing.
I'm a very rational businessman, and I find myself talking about this felt sense of being alive, this felt sense of being connected to my environment. I'll never be a great photographer, but that's really not what I'm here to do, but I'm becoming a great seer. I can see things. It just took me 57 years to finally start noticing them.
Just load them off.
Start at just upside down in slot 1.
And white is toward you.
White side toward you.
At the end of an assignment, Miksang students gather to view their work.
Everyone can see clearly. Trungpa Rinpoche in one of his books said, "It's not a matter of recreating the sun. It's simply a matter of removing the clouds." And I think that's a very potent statement. And it means to me that our innate ability to be present and direct and see is innate. And that all the various disciplines, including meditation practice, are designed to simply remove the clouds. You're not trying to create anything. You're simply trying to uncover what's already there.